The day the war beast roared at the sky, I knew nothing would ever be the same. Its voice shook the hull of the abandoned space station, echoing through corridors that had been dead for decades. Sparks rained from the ceiling as if the station itself were shivering in fear. And yet, it wasn't fear I saw in the creature's eyes. It was something older. Something that had survived centuries of conquest, carnage, and betrayal. I froze, a lone human among wreckage and shadows. Why is it here? I whispered, the words swallowed by the beast's growl. My fingers clutched the rail of the observation deck as it stepped closer, each movement precise, deliberate. Its armored scales shimmered with a color I couldn't name, part liquid metal, part blood, part fire. I expected to die. But that was only the beginning. No one had ever seen the war beast bow. Not its creators. Not the armies it had crushed. Not the civilizations it had erased. And yet here it was, lowering its massive head, nostrils flaring in a gesture I could barely comprehend. The air between us hummed with tension and reverence. I was Commander Elias Kane, a former soldier turned salvage pilot, and I had no clue why the galaxy's deadliest predator was recognizing me. Memories of the last battle on Voltron 9 flashed in my mind. The firestorm, the screams, the moment I had risked everything to save a single alien child from being incinerated by my own fleet. I hadn't thought anyone had noticed. No one had. Except this. A metallic crack echoed through the station as the beast shifted its weight. Its eyes, large, amber, almost liquid, pierced through me. You, I whispered to myself, almost afraid to finish the sentence. You remember? The airlock hissed behind me. A second figure stepped into the dim glow, an alien engineer with skin like molten bronze and eyes too sharp to be entirely human. Commander Kane, it said, its voice musical but carrying an edge of warning, the war beast only bows to the one who has touched its soul. It chooses carefully. I swallowed, heart hammering. Why me? That is what we need to find out, the engineer replied, motioning toward the station's central core. But be warned. The truth will burn. The station thrummed beneath our feet as we walked. Panels flickered, revealing the skeleton of old battles. Scorched walls, shattered consoles, and the ghosts of a civilization that had once reached for the stars. Each corridor seemed alive, murmuring secrets in a language I almost understood. My mind raced. What did this war beast want from me? Why had it survived while its armies, its cities, its empires had all turned to dust? A sudden vibration made the floor shudder. The beast let out a low growl, not of anger but warning. I looked at the engineer. It's sensing something. He nodded grimly. Something human and something far worse. The core room was a cathedral of alien technology, wires sprawling like veins and lights pulsing like a heartbeat. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and something older, something alive. And there, in the center, floated an orb of pure energy, suspended as if by invisible hands. The war beast lowered its head again, a sound like 1,000 winds rushing through canyons escaping its throat. I took a hesitant step closer. The orb pulsed and visions assaulted my mind. Planets burning, civilizations rising and falling, a single human figure standing against impossible odds. Me. But, not just me. Someone else. Someone the galaxy had never seen. What is this? I asked, trembling. The engineer's voice was barely audible over the hum. This is the Soul Matrix. It chooses leaders, champions, and survivors. It records courage, compassion, and defiance. And it has chosen you. I staggered back. Chosen me? For what? For balance, he said, his voice tight with fear. For war. For peace. For something the galaxy doesn't yet understand. But there are others who will come for it. And they will not hesitate. The station shook violently. Red lights bathed the walls. I saw movement in the shadows. Remnants of the old war fleet, rogue AI constructs, creatures of metal and flame that had been left behind to guard the Matrix. They were coming for us. I looked at the war beast. Its massive claws dug into the floor as it turned toward the threat, and in that moment, a revelation hit me. It wasn't just following me. It was protecting me. It had been waiting for someone worthy. Waiting for me. What I saw next changed everything. The fight was unlike anything I had ever experienced. Metal scraped against metal, laser fire carved streaks of light across the dark, and the war beast moved with an elegance that defied its size. But it was more than power, it was strategy, empathy, awareness. It adjusted to my movements, shielded me from attacks I didn't even see coming, and seemed to anticipate my thoughts before I thought them. Amid the chaos, I understood the truth. humanity's capacity for choice, for compassion, for defiance of instinct. That was why the war beast bowed. Not for power. Not for conquest. For the one human who had acted with mercy when the universe demanded cruelty. But that was only the beginning. The rogue constructs regrouped. One, larger than the others, surged toward the matrix with a blast of plasma. I knew if it touched the orb it would be catastrophic, not just for the station but for the galaxy. Without thinking, I raised my hand and shouted, "No!" The war beast lunged. Its claws struck the construct's core, sending a shockwave through the room that lifted me off my feet. Sparks flew. Panels shattered. And then, in a moment of impossible silence, the construct fell, the matrix safe. I collapsed, lungs burning. The war beast lowered its head, nudging me gently as if checking I was alive. Its amber eyes met mine, and I understood everything without words. It had been waiting, watching, surviving for this very moment. And it had found what it had sought. The engineer placed a hand on my shoulder. "It is yours to command, or protect. But remember, it serves no one but those it trusts. And trust is earned, not given." I nodded, still trembling. Around us, the station began to hum differently. The matrix pulsed, brighter than ever, and for the first time, I felt a strange calm. The war beast's growl softened into a rumble, almost a purr as it circled me, armor scraping lightly against the metal floor. Days, or perhaps hours, passed in a blur. I didn't know if the station's time was measured in Earth hours or alien cycles. I only knew one thing: the war beast would not leave my side and I would not leave it. Together we explored the station's secrets, deciphered its ancient codes, and uncovered the truths it had protected for centuries. Then came the final test. A transmission, deep and static-laden, reached us from the void. A fleet of unknown origin, its ships gleaming like shards of ice, intent on claiming the matrix. I knew we couldn't negotiate. Not this time. The war beast let out a roar that shook the stars themselves. I stepped forward. We faced them together. Its massive head bowed slightly again. Not in submission but in acknowledgement. Together, human and alien, soldier and beast, we faced the approaching fleet. The first wave struck, and the station became a storm of light, fire, and sound. I dodged debris, fired weapons salvaged from the station, and relied on instincts I hadn't known I had. But through it all, the war beast fought beside me, not just as a weapon but as a partner, as a guardian, as a reflection of the courage I hadn't known I possessed. When the battle ended, silence fell. Smoke and sparks drifted through the station like snow. The fleet had been repelled, scattered into the void, and the matrix remained intact. I sank to my knees, exhausted, staring at the war beast, whose eyes reflected something almost human: pride, understanding, and perhaps affection. I don't understand any of this," I said quietly. "You never had to," the engineer replied. "You only had to act when it mattered. And that is enough." The war beast lowered its head to mine one last time, and I reached up, hand trembling, to touch its armored snout. It closed its eyes, a gesture that felt like gratitude, like trust, like peace. I realized then that the galaxy didn't need another conqueror. It needed proof that even amidst chaos and destruction, a single human could make a difference. That choice, compassion, and courage could shape the universe. And as the station's lights flickered, bathing us in a soft golden glow, I whispered almost to myself, "We'll face whatever comes, together." The war beast tilted its head, a sound like a low, resonant hum filling the empty halls. And for the first time the universe felt less like a battlefield and more like a home. I rose, side by side with the creature who had bowed only to me, and stepped toward the observation deck. Beyond the shattered viewport, stars glimmered like scattered diamonds, infinite and indifferent. But for the first time I didn't feel small. I felt ready. And somewhere deep inside, I knew the war beast and I would endure whatever the galaxy had left to throw at us. Because we were no longer just survivor and predator. We were partners. Guardians. Witnesses to a truth that no one else had ever seen, and perhaps never would again. And that was only the beginning.